Good morning and welcome to the March 21st City of Glendale Arts and Culture Commission meeting. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Yang,
Here.
Commissioner Tufenkian.
Here.
Commissioner Vyar.
Here.
Commissioner Zadorian.
Here.
Commissioner Alexandrian.
Here.
Commissioner Pogosian.
Here.
And Chairperson Vidor.
Here.
Agenda item 1, the agenda for the March 21st, 2024 regular meeting of the Glendale Arts and Culture Commission was posted on March 15th, 2024 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Agenda item 2, consent items. Minutes of the February 15th, 2024 regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. Minutes of the February 27th, 2024 special Arts and Culture Commission meeting. And minutes of the March 13th, 2024 special Arts and Culture Commission meeting.
And we're going to take them all at once as a group, so if anyone has any specific edits on anything or amendments, comment. If not, we can go ahead and approve all of these minutes as is.
I move we approve the consent items.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Roll call, Vice Chair Yang,
Yes.
Commissioner Tufenkian.
Yes.
Commissioner Vyar.
Yes.
Commissioner Zadorian.
Yes.
And Chairperson Vidor.
Yes.
Agenda item 3, introductions and presentations, library arts and culture events presented by Alerta Lopez, Program Coordinator. Summertime is a collaborative exhibition between Super Collider and students of Glendale Unified School District. Considering a natural landscape that has now been definitively divided, imposed upon, and modified by humans, Summertime presents a series of works that invite us to consider the fictional nature of the landscape and its elements. The exhibition will be on view from March 23rd through May 18th, 2024, and an opening reception will be held on Saturday, March 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. The Cantabile Chamber Players will perform music by Johann Sebastian Bach on Saturday, March 23rd at 1 p.m. at the Glendale Transportation Center's historic Southern Pacific Railway Depot. The performance is part of Bach in the Subways to celebrate his birthday. This year marks his 339th birthday, and in celebration, the Cantabile Chamber Players will play a variety of Bach compositions. The event is free and open to the public, and parking at the train station is also free. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. The Associates of Brand Library and Art Center announces the 52nd Annual National Juried Exhibition of Works on Paper. Cash awards total more than $4,000, including a Juror's Award. All accepted artworks will be included in a show at Brand's Gallery and in both printed and online exhibition catalogs. Artists at any point in their artistic journey, such as students, professionals, and hobbyists, are welcome. Artists are invited to submit artwork until the deadline of March 31st, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Glendale Library Arts and Culture invites you to join a series of virtual author talks in partnership with the Library Speakers Consortium. On Tuesday, April 12th at 11 a.m., virtually step into the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of American History with curator Paula Johnson as she discusses the book, Smithsonian American Table, The Foods, People, and Innovations That Feed Us. American Table is a sweeping history of food and culture that summons everyone to the table for a fresh look at some of the people, ingredients, events, and movements that have shaped how and what we eat. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Pieces Radical, a solo exhibition by renowned street artist and activist Shepard Fairey, is currently on view at the Reflect Space Library. Pieces Radical features works addressing a range of topics, including creative empowerment, the importance of democracy, race and gender equality, environmental justice, and of course, peace and harmony. Shepard Fairey has also designed a limited edition library card for Glendale Library Arts and Culture that will be available at all Glendale Library branches through the run of the exhibit while supplies last. Pieces Radical is on view until Sunday, April 14th, 2024. For more information, please visit the link on the screen.
Thank you very much. And we don't have any oral communications that I'm aware of, so we can go to the next item.
Agenda item 5, discussion items. First, we have Artsakh Avenue redevelopment project update.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Fukutomi Jones, Arts and Culture Administrator. We are at the last meeting on February 15, 2024. The Commissioner requested an update on the Artsakh Avenue redevelopment project, and we have invited Deputy Director Sarkis Aganesian, who is going to provide an update on the project.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, Chairperson Vidor and members of the Commission. I'm Sarkis Aganesian, Deputy Director of Public Works and City Engineer. In regards to the Artsakh Avenue project, back in October of last year, we finally received approval from the City Council to go and advertise the project for bids. Unfortunately, we received 0 bids for the construction project after almost 2 months of advertisement. We had extended the project so that we can reach out to contractors who normally do this type of work. We had held pre-construction meetings, pre-bid meetings. We had loosened our specifications. We had given the specifications some type of detail where the contractors could know exactly how to phase this project in an effort to encourage them to actually bid on the project. After all that, we were still unsuccessful. Afterwards, we reached out to some of the contractors that were interested, and one of the main comments that we heard, or the concern, was that it was such a short span of roadway with so many things going on that they were tentative or hesitant to bid, and if they were going to bid, they were going to bid an astronomically high number. Either case, we would have still appreciated a bid, so we knew what we were faced with, but they didn't. So some of the concerns that they brought up is we have 2 parking garages that service, there's 3 parking garages in all of downtown that service all of downtown Glendale. 2 of those parking garages happen to have entrances and exits on Artsakh. One of those parking garages happens to have entrance and exit only on Artsakh. So you can imagine during construction on that narrow roadway, what type of impacts that would have. Obviously, we can't close down the parking garage because that services all the businesses and all of downtown. And so we had suggested phasing it so that the work is done in the evenings when all the businesses are closed. Considerably, this would have a higher cost. We were prepared for that. And we had suggested this to the contractors, but again, they still had concerns. Rafi's Place, another very famous restaurant in Glendale, has their exit to their parking, to their valet parking on Artsakh, and there's no other exit for that. So that was another concern that we were working around. The parking garage near the marketplace, near the library, has an entrance and an exit off of Artsakh, but they also have an entrance and exit off of Harvard. So that was a little bit easier to deal with, but you're still looking at restricting entrance and access to half of that garage during construction. So again, we had recommended evening hour work. The other concern that the contractors had was that the scope of work was just enormous, and it is. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of underground stuff going on, a lot of above stuff going on, a lot of surface construction going on, because it's a fairly robust project that we've undertaken in a very long time. all this seems to be bad news, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but moving forward, we are going to be having a conversation with the city manager, with the community development department, as well as our department to determine how best we can not redesign the project, but rephase the project so that we can at least get started on it and move forward. Because every day that we wait, costs go up. And that's something else that we have to deal with as well. We were hoping to get an approximate value of cost so we can deal with, see what our budget is and what we need to potentially budget for or ask, but we didn't receive a bid. So at this point, it would be premature to even say what the cost would be if we were to advertise it today. But in any case, that's the latest update. We're still committed to getting the project done. We've put in a lot of effort, a lot of time. We think it's going to be an amazing project. And so until we have another update, at this point, this is the best that we can provide you with. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, well, I'm sure we do. So let's start with Vice Chair.
So just to clarify, you are still wanting to move forward with the project?
Yes.
Okay. I'm curious what you feel like it would take to get to the point where you can reissue the request for proposals or sort of go out to contractors again. Would it be like a redesign process or sort of a rethinking process about the project? Yeah.
So one of the ideas on the table now, and obviously we're gonna have to get confirmation and approval from city manager, we're gonna have to go back to council to re-advertise this anyway, is to phase the project by block. So do one block at a time. It's gonna be more expensive if we do that, but if that's the only way to get the project done, then that is one way. Obviously, we'll need the council's blessing and the city manager's blessing on that. But that's one way of doing it. Another way is to do, for instance, all the stuff you can't see in one phase. So all the underground work and get that all installed and done in the evening hours. That would be a little bit more catered towards subcontractors. So as long as you have a good general contractor that has a really good subcontractor base, they could do that in relatively short order. But again, it depends on the contractor and if they're prepared and willing to do that. Again, that would carry a higher cost, but that's another option outside of a miracle happening.
I think just my main question is also how, and I don't know if you can answer this, but how this impacts the planned artworks for the sites, that we've selected.
The artworks would take a temporary pause until we have a definitive timeline because the artworks would be installed at the end of the project. So right now we're taking a temporary pause on those contracts.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay for now. Yeah.
Commissioner Tufenkian? No, it's Byron. Oh, no, sorry.
Am I next? Yeah, well, that's definitely very disappointing, but I do hope that it does come to fruition because I think seeing the revitalization of ARTSA would be something that everyone's looking forward to. So the underground work is something that has to be done regardless, or is it something that has to be done as a foundation for what's to come above?
It has to be both. So it has to be done regardless because there's new street infrastructure, there's new street light infrastructure, there's new low voltage, lighting infrastructure, there's new sprinkler infrastructure, there's new traffic signal infrastructure. So, and there's new foundations for all the nice canopies, the artwork that's going to be above ground. So all that stuff has to be done first before the above ground improvements can be done. So to answer your question, it's both of them.
Okay, and that would probably have to be done based on whatever the design is, if it's redesigned or if you're using the same design.
Yeah, we would be using the same design. The only time a redesign would be necessary is if council chooses to change something. But as of our last go at it, council was unanimously in agreement on the current design. The only way you can really change the design is to modify the direction of where everything is going or how it's going, and that would just be a completely new project in its own. It's not something we would recommend, but again,
Okay. Well, thank you.
sure.
Thank you for the update.
Commissioner Ryer?
I do have a couple of questions. I was wondering if the plan that was presented in October, I didn't see that one, were there critical changes in that plan from the plan that was presented by Bradley Calvert the plan previous to that was not approved by council?
To answer your, I don't think so. I'd have to double check. The only reason why the council didn't approve the original go around when we came, I believe in April of last year,
It was around then, I couldn't call it up, yeah, I couldn't
was
find it.
because there was concerns from one of the businesses at the corner of Harvard and Artsakh in regards to increasing their sidewalk footprint so they can have additional outdoor dining. It'd be a little bit more conducive to pedestrians, being able to traverse that corner where the library is, where those restaurants are. The main concern for that was there is a highly used right turn lane that goes down to Brand, goes down to the Americana, and it's a heavily used turn lane when there's traffic that is backed up trying to turn left onto Harvard going up towards Glendale. It also services the exit of one of the garages there. And so we did a study what the implications would be to remove that lane, and the implications were not good. You would have backup traffic, and especially since the roadway is completely turning into one-way.
Yes.
So you can imagine how much traffic that would build up. So we were able to make some slight increases to the sidewalk area to accommodate some of what they were asking for while maintaining that turn lane. So other than that, nothing else
Okay, so
changed.
that didn't impact, I remember that owner wanting the whole street, the whole block
Yeah.
closed to traffic, but there would be like you said, 2/3 of the ingress and egress to that parking garage, and it wouldn't have been.
Correct.
It wouldn't have worked. And so I was just wondering if the changes that were made impacted the inability to get bids.
No,
Okay.
that wasn't a concern.
Okay, thank you. Also, I'm wondering, do you have a timeline for beginning construction or beginning whichever phase you're going to do, the underground or the above ground or whatever? Do you have a timeline for getting started on that?
So right now, tentatively, we're looking to have discussions internally within the next 4 to 8 weeks and finalize what our process is going to be, at which time we would then most likely be required to return to City Council to re-advertise the project. That would be probably another few weeks after that, because you have to get on the agenda calendar to be able to have some type of an action on that. And then we'd want to advertise for another 4 weeks at the minimum
Wow.
to be able to garner, interest and have as many eyes on it as possible. So you're looking at about 4 months until we open a bid from today, realistically speaking. And at that time, if we were to receive a bid and it's within the budget, or we're able to petition for more money, then we'd be able to execute a contract in relatively short order and begin construction. All that said, best case scenario, about 6 months
6 months.
before
okay.
you start construction.
Then would the occupants who currently are there through the Artsakh Creative Program of the Department of Economic Development be able to stay? Would they be able to remain?
Yeah, actually, community development reached out to us to renew some of their leases, I believe, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. And they've done so ever since
Okay.
we had the conversation. And the whole plan is to not impact any of the businesses while we're doing construction. So just for some reference, we would be erecting temporary fencing that would block off the middle of the roadway and still provide people with safe access on both sides of the sidewalk. That was one of the main requirements. We don't usually do that on projects because we allow the contractors to work on each side or one side at a time, as long as they're not impacting safety and traffic. But in this case, we realize that there's a lot of businesses that their livelihood depends on the day-to-day customers. And so we are requiring them to provide access basically during working hours. In the evenings, their access would be limited because of the construction work.
It would be
Limited.
limited.
And those
Okay.
stores and
The
they're all
Glendale
closed
room.
at that time.
The Glendale room, I think they all had the expectation that when construction started, that their free occupancy would be terminated, but.
That would be a question that we'd have to take up with community development more in detail, because we're not the ones that control that. But naturally, so there will be some impact to the business, obviously,
Sounds
because
like
of
it.
construction, and we always try to do our best to make sure that the contractor abides with our requirements. And so far, we've been pretty successful in most of our projects.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Sure.
Commissioner Zadorian?
Well, thank you, Sarkis, for coming here and presenting. I don't really have any further questions. I think everyone asked great questions. I'm sorry that you've put so much time and effort in. This is kind of what's happened. I guess that's the world we're living in today. I also want to just remember that like our purview currently, thank you for the update, but it's arts related. So I think we kind of have to go back to the drawing board amongst ourselves. And so maybe we'll agendize that later. So what I'm just hearing is 4 to 6 months to open a bid. So it's up to 2 years before any art piece can ever go up. So I just want to clarify that. Does that sound about right?
Yes, because of so it depends on how we move forward with the construction. If we phase it, like as in we have to do all the underground work, or we have to do one block at a time, it may be longer than that, but it's our hope and our plan actually in the phasing that if we were to do one block at a time, at least you'd have the artwork on that block up when we're done with construction. We had estimated approximately a 1-year construction timeframe for the entire project if it had gone according to our plan. So your timeline is pretty realistic, yeah, about 18 months to 24 months.
Okay. All right. We'll just keep that in mind for our decision, because there is the option that either we use the funds elsewhere, we wait, or there is a possibility of creating these pieces, installing them elsewhere, and then moving them to Artsakh later, because these are tangible objects that we can move. So that's something that we can discuss amongst ourselves, and then, of course, plan that with you guys moving forward and see if that's a possibility.
And one thing I'd like to add that we've been thinking about, and I haven't had a chance to let Jennifer know, but if the project for some reason does not move forward, or it gets canceled, or it gets significantly decreased in scope, there may be a way to study implementing some of these art pieces on the existing corridor, so that necessarily your efforts are not completely, gone. So that may be a possibility, but we don't want to explore that until we know for sure what the new project's expectations are.
Thank you.
Sure.
Something positive to look forward to.
That's what we try to do.
Commissioner Bogosian?
The questions that I had, my colleagues already addressed, but I just wanted to say thanks for coming and giving us updates.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Alexandria?
I don't have any questions, but I hope it really goes through and that we can see the arts on Artsakh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is disappointing after all this time and all this excitement building up in the community to have this happen. And I guess, I really don't have anything to add. Everybody stated the case very well, and I'm glad we have some suggestions on tap for how we can manage and handle these art pieces, because as you can imagine, the community, a lot of it having to do with us talking about it with people who have a stake in the arts, are very excited about what is about to happen. And this was kind of our blast off into the really high-level public art world. So, it disappoints me to think of us not being able to put those two pieces up. But I guess I wonder, I keep thinking about, I want to move forward too, like everybody else. Like, let's just see what happens. But my concern is that it sounds like it's rolling a boulder uphill to try to reconfigure the project in a way that it can be built in a reasonable time frame. And is there, in the decision-making process, discussion of what a reasonable time frame is? Because you mentioned, if in fact we can't do this, there would be other decisions that could be made about, what to do, what not to do, where we might put the art. And so do you have if we can't make this work by X, we're going to step down, or?
All that hinges on our internal discussion with the city manager to see what they would like to do moving forward and how they would like to move this forward based on some of the options. I would say that all hope is not lost. I personally am committed to realizing this project. I also live in the city, and I'd love to take my kids, along that corridor, and my family. So I'm personally committed to getting this project done as whatever it would take. And I can say maybe within the next, like I said, 4 to 8 weeks, we'd have a reasonable expectation of what our plans are. At that time, we would love to share with the committee, with the commission, with Jennifer and Library and Arts and Culture. So that way, everybody is abreast on what the status is. And then at that time, maybe better decisions can be made on how to better use the funding that's reserved for the project if the project, potentially is going to face a roadblock.
And I guess just in closing, because I always think about the processes that take place, and this obviously is a really complicated project, as, if there will be any public discussion or any discussion about what happened here, was there anything that could have or should have been done differently in the process to get ahead of what turned out to be a showstopper from the construction standpoint. So I know you don't have an answer for that, but it's something that's going to swirl around in my mind for a long time. And because when things like this happen, we can all learn something. And, we've got like 10, 12 art pieces in front of us to get installed and to work with many departments in the city. So any insights we can get along the way about how to make sure things run smoothly. I mean, it affects all of us together, and I'd be very interested to understand that.
Certainly.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 5B, Urban Art Fund 2023 fee summary.
During the February 15th commission meeting, I believe the commission requested an update on the Urban Art Fund fee summary for 2023. So as part of Exhibit A, you have in your packet the income that was received for the year of 2023 for the Urban Art Fund. As a reminder, the Urban Art Fund was initiated in 2016 at the goal of promoting diversity in arts and culture within the city to provide an update and increased quality of life for residents and visitors. The fee itself applies to new buildings, structures, and/or alteration or repair of buildings valued at $500,000 or more within the commercial and/or mixed-use zones. It doesn't apply to residential or commercial or industrial zones. And the two options that applicants do have is the on-site equal art project value of 2% of the project, or an in lieu payment fee of 1%, which goes into the Urban Art Fund. So for 2023, we had an income of about $197,000, and then our total Urban Art Fund fee is about $9.6 million. So we're in a good place. Generally, over the course of the time that I've been here, we generally have about $200,000 income per year, and it depends on the year. Like, we had the pandemic, so we didn't have very much income during those years. But I think we're in a very good place. So happy to answer any questions that the commission has, but that has been the fee summary for 2023.
Thank you.
No, I don't have any questions.
No questions at this time.
Commissioner Vire.
No questions. That was very clear. Thank you.
Commissioner Zadorian.
Yeah, can you just repeat? You said it was residential, not residential, it was commercial and what was the
Mixed use zone.
mixed use zone? Those are the only two that this is coming from. Okay.
So it doesn't apply to residential.
Yeah, this is great to look at, and if we could just include this every year with the budget, that would be perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, I don't have any questions.
Oh, I had one quick, sorry, I just thought of one. I forgive me because I just don't know how like money works in city budgets, but the Urban Art Fund total, like is that just sort of sitting somewhere? Like, there's no interest being made on that money or anything?
There's no expiration date either.
Okay, all right.
I don't have any questions either, but thank you, and I appreciate being kept up to date on this.
Sure, absolutely. And I can definitely include this in the budget proposal for next year.
Thank you. Next item.
Agenda item 5C, 2023 to 2024 work plan progress updates. Okay. So first, providing updates on the 2024 performance series. We received 120 submissions that staff reviewed, and I wanted to thank Commissioner Pogosian, Commissioner Vire, and Chairperson Fedor for participating in the Artist Review and Selection Committee that we held in February. So first, to go over the Brand Summer Music Series, which will take place in July through August of 2024 on Fridays at 7 p.m. First, we have Ricardo Lemvo and Máquina Loca, which will play uplifting and fun music consisting of a blend of Cuban with Pan-African rhythms from Angola and Congo. They have performed at the 2019 Open Arts Music Festival in Glendale and at LACMA on numerous occasions. And we'd also have the Start Ensemble, which presents fresh interpretations of Armenian, Argentinian, classical, and folk works along with original compositions. Sones de America is music from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, and Venezuela. And Voodoo 5 proposes exotica music consisting of vocals, Hawaiian steel guitar, vibraphone, Afro-Cuban percussion, and bossa nova guitar. The Pepper Moons offers a lively and energetic set of beloved popular songs from the pre-bop swing era. The band is entertaining and draws a lot of local swing dancers and music lovers from all over LA County. Stepwise is a high-energy Celtic folk trio featuring the guitar playing of a dadgad specialist, the hand percussion of a bones and bodhrán player, and a fiddler. The three LA natives have built a following playing festivals, concerts, and contra dances up and down the West Coast. The Echo Park Project performs a combination of salsa dance music and Latin jazz and have performed concerts in parks in other cities. And lastly, Absolute will perform R&B, funk, soul, and classic rock hits from the 70s and 80s, focusing on well-known and highly danceable hit songs from artists such as Earth, Wind & Fire, Stevie Wonder, Al Green, and many more. And then we have the Jewel City Concert Series from September through October 2024, taking place Saturdays at 5 p.m. on the Artsock Paseo. First, we'd have the Logan Hone Band, who is best known for his joy, musical flow, and fantastic dance moves while performing on saxophone and flute. For this performance, he will bring his band for an upbeat, joyful, and invigorating concert of feel-good music with flavors of jazz, cumbia, and pop. Rogue Lemon Collective is a collective of classically trained string musicians exploring a diverse range of genres and crafting arrangements and original compositions that showcase their versatility, performing pieces from artists such as Radiohead and the Rolling Stones. Dream Phases is a rock pop group that write danceable songs with memorable melodies, lyrics, and psychedelic textures. They regularly headline in LA and support large acts around Southern California. Jay Weddle proposes an upbeat Latin dance electronic set with live percussions. And lastly, Ominous Duck is a teen band that play covers and originals in the punk and alt-rock genres. And yeah, that's it. Overall, we're excited for these recommendations, and we feel that both concerts have a great lineup. So if anyone has any comments or questions.
If these are recommendations, does that mean it comes back as an action item for us to vote on, or no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that how all the committees are going to be moving forward?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I just want to thank you, Loretto, and Jennifer, of course, and everybody else, Blair, of course, who was involved in whittling down the long list of musicians to this really great short list. And it was really fun and exciting to see it work out during the selection process. So thank you very much. You can go on.
Okay. So next we have recommendations for the Adams Square Mini Park gas station. We received 54 submissions that staff reviewed and met with the Artist Review and Selection Committee, which included Commissioner Alexandrian, Commissioner Tefenkian, and Commissioner Zadorian. And together we've selected these following installations for the upcoming year. First, we have All the People We Encounter Each Day by Amy Oates from June 3rd through July 12th of 2024. And this work depicts a crowd of people created from layers of painted cut paper, and the layers would be suspended from the ceiling with monofilament and would include lighting to create shadows at night. Next is Jungle by Anli Tico from July 15th through August 16th. The piece would be made mostly out of lightweight textiles and yarn, as well as crocheted pieces that would be hung from the ceiling of the gas station. The piece would create a jungle-like environment within the gas station that would be colorful and dynamic from all four sides. Afterwards is Vestiges by John David O'Brien and Jonna Lee from August 19th through October 4th. And this would have the space divided in half into two triangular sections, and each artist will place modified dressers back to back from which there will be abstract traces of their own lives. And this installation was previously approved by the commission in May of 2023. Next is Ventana Huichola by Natalie Gonzalez, which consists of 3 pieces, each made of 15 God's eyes, which are votive objects used by the Huichol people. And she also suggested that some would be hanging across the room as well. And the goal for this is to have the audience to engage in the colors and the shapes of the work. And each God's eye is attached to a plastic net with a cord in the back. Next is Galaxy Mosaic by One House Arts in January 13th to February 28th of 2025. And One House Arts is an experimental art school at Monterey Park created by contemporary artist Rachel Wrong. And this installation recreates the brilliant colors of deep space within the gas station. Students' transparent acrylic paintings of space will cover the windows, allowing sunlight to create a stained glass refraction and shadows that move throughout the day with the shifting sun. In the center of the room, dozens of foam globes decorated with mosaic patterns will hang, representing distant stars and unknown planets. Afterwards is Soft Surrealism by Mandy Palisic from March 3rd through April 18th, 2025. And this is an abstract sculpture composed of biomorphic inflatables that magnetically connect to form amoeba-like creations. Lightweight PVC pieces will be arranged to expand and contract in the gas station, activating the corners and framing views on all 4 sides. At night, colorful beams of light will activate the shapes, creating an alluring form that changes with each perspective. And lastly is Protect, Preserve, and Remember by Laura Green from April 21st through May 30th. And the work uses personal photographic references from the SoCal areas, such as the canyons, beaches, and estuary spaces. And commonly seen flora and fauna are represented in large-scale paintings to draw attention to their need for protection and preservation. 3 paintings on each side of the gas station will be suspended from the ceiling, and the intention of showing children in nature is for us to remember the earth they stand on to inherit. And yeah, these are the exhibits that we recommend for this year, and if any of the commissioners have any comments.
We're gonna go in order.
Anybody on this side of the room?
I just want to say that it was such an exciting group of artists to review, and I think we've got a really colorful and fun few months ahead. So I think they're going to be all really cool exhibitions.
Commissioner Vire, anything?
Oh, I just love all of the gas station and the Mini Park gas station installations. They're beautiful, good job, committee. And then, yeah, thanks to the committee, to Chair Vidor and Blair and Commissioner Gemma and staff for the music series was really great too. That was narrowed down very nicely. So much thanks for that.
Commissioner Zadori?
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify. So Vestiges was voted on previously, but we're having it join this group. I just want to clarify that because I think we hadn't noticed that.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. Yeah, that was a scheduling conflict, so we pushed them to August of this.
Perfect. So that makes it a total of how many? I'm sorry.
It was 6?
7.
Oh, 7?
7? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then do we have any updates? We had an international artist and we were going to reach out to see they wanted to join or if it was possible, or is that already included? I can't remember which one the piece was. It was a British artist, and we loved the piece, but we weren't sure if they were able to even come here. And
Lorenzo,
we're
do
gonna
you have an
follow up on
update?
that.
No, I don't have an update, but I can try to reach out to them today
Okay.
for
please.
that. Mm-hmm.
And that's all. It looks great. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who helped out.
And if we did include the British artist, then everybody else's timeline would be shortened, or how would that be?
Normally, what we would do is we could extend it, so the timeline would extend to probably July, just adding another person in.
No, but I want to thank the commissioners that took their time and they went out and they selected these artworks that are going to be displayed.
How long does each piece go up for? Like,
It's about 6 to 8 weeks is what we found is the kind of sweet spot for the gas station.
Great selections. And, you know, I'm sure the residents of the local community there in Adams Hill will really be thrilled with this, but I think, you know, I hope that we will reach out more and more when we have our artist receptions there, which are co-sponsored by the local neighborhood association, and reach out to all of Glendale and invite them, because this is really a city thing. Those of us who live in that area think of it as a neighborhood thing, but it's Glendale, and we should invite everybody. And this is really a stunning selection. So thank you all, and thank you to my fellow Gemma and Jane here, and of course, staff for what we did with the music. I think with the music and the visual art, we have just wonderful things to look forward to. So thank you all. Okay, next one.
Agenda item 6, commission and staff comments.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you to everyone about the committee. Obviously, I think we're all thinking about the ARTSOC updates, and I do think it would be nice to have some further discussion about possibilities around the artwork, you know, just sort of like what's a plan A scenario, what's a plan B scenario, you know, just sort of more of like a brainstorming amongst us. I mean, honestly, having an extended timeline, having working in public art is not at all unusual. And so I think a lot of these artists who proposed for this wouldn't be surprised, and I think would probably stick around with us until the time that it would be able to be installed. But I think regardless, obviously from our perspective, we want to see this artwork created. We want to see it placed somewhere, you know, it's certainly I do. I can speak for myself. So I think it'd be good to just sort of talk through, even at the next meeting, even if we're not completely sure what the timeline and what the steps forward are, just how we as a commission would be interested in seeing things move forward under different scenarios. So that's my only comment really in thinking about this.
Good comment.
Yeah.
Commissioner Tefenkian.
Agreed. I think that's a very good suggestion. And it would be nice to do that sooner than later. So, and thank you for everything that you guys have done. So, thank you.
Byer.
Yes, that news from Sarkis was a little gut-wrenching today, but Vice Chair Bell Yank, thank you for those encouraging words. That helped to hear that this isn't unusual in the art world, and that perhaps the artists will take it more in stride than we did. And so thank you for that. I also want to thank all the committee members for their selections for the music series and for the mini park. I'm going to get over there for every installation, I think. And also, I think we should all try to go and celebrate Bach's birthday at the Transportation Center, as our wonderful Chair Vidor is part of the ensemble that will be playing there for the, what's that called, the subway, what do you call it? Yeah, so, yeah, so that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Zadorian.
No comments. I'm just assuming it's officially agendized for next time. Okay. Thank you.
Make sure to add it to the agenda.
Thank you.
I don't have any comments.
Pretty much what everybody said. I think it is important for us to figure out what we're doing and also to keep in close touch with with Public Works and not have them showing up all the time. They have work to do, obviously, but for major milestones of decision points, I think it will be really helpful for us doing our decision-making to cooperate closely with them. So, and I know that we do, and I know that you do, but we also know what happens when people get busy. So hopefully we'll stick with this until we see some result come out of it. But thank you for everybody for your patience, and thank you for the reassuring words, Commissioner Belyank. I think that's true that obviously public art does take a long time, but how much time, when does it become too much time is something that is on my mind a little bit, and that we have to move forward with the so-called Plan B. So, and thank you profoundly to staff for all the work that you are doing, continue to do, and did on this. So, and of course, thanks everybody for the great decision-making on the special committees for selection. And welcome, Sylvia. Anything else on that?
I wanted to
No?
provide
Okay.
a positive note in a sense that I know we had some tough news this morning, but I wanted to thank Commissioner Tufenkian, who's on the committee for the Citywide Public Art RFQ. We had some really, really fantastic artists that applied for the RFQ, and we made some recommendations. And so LaBasse is working with finalists for those opportunities. We're going to prioritize the Montrose Circular Benches as the first opportunity. So those artists have received an RFP and are working on it. The Montrose Shopping Park Association has been very involved with the process as well. So we're hoping that by April, for sure, the May meeting, we can potentially share some artist finalists for that opportunity. But big thanks to Commissioner Tufenkian, who sat on that committee. And we have
Thank
some
you,
great finalists.
Commissioner Tufenkian.
Thank you.
And what about the Central Park, the very immersive one where the artist wanted to even talk to the community? What's going on with that one?
They're still in the process of finalizing the plans for Central Park. So we're working very closely with the Parks Department to finalize those plans and then next steps to talk about that particular project.
Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item 7, written communications, there are none. Agenda item 8, adjournment.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.